It's missing.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? Because every day you walked into that house, you didn't see that gun.
Right.
Me, every day I walk into my house when my kids were younger and they would get home from school or whatever, when I would walk into the house, I could see my gun, the rifles and whatnot. So I knew my kids didn't grab them.
Mm-hmm.
I knew exactly where I left them, and I knew exactly where they were. That's my way of I think, believe it or not, I think that's even more gun safe than hiding your gun and then having your kid find it
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because of that curiosity.
Yeah.
And again, maybe I'm wrong, but you know what? I have 8 kids, and none of them, and they all own guns, and none of them have done anything stupid with them because they've been learned, they taught from a young age. They come in, that's the gun. Okay,
Well,
that's the gun. That's
here's
it.
my theory
Boom.
on that
Walk out,
is
whatever.
that that's a good example. And I think this is what the difference is between nowadays and back then is if I was your kid and I went and I touched that gun, what would happen?
Yeah, you get
Well, you
yeah,
gotta-
yeah.
Yeah,
I'd get your butt
getting
whooped,
that
yeah.
whooping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can get
That's the difference
Yeah.
between nowadays is nowadays you'll see a parent be like, you're not supposed to touch that. I'm taking your stuff away. I'm a firm believer an ass whooping goes a long way.
I don't believe in taking away phones or taking away things.
Yeah.
Because to me, I never had a cell phone when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take my cell phone, if I take a cell phone from a kid, they adapt to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As hard as it sounds for that first day of crying with no phone, they adapt to it. I did it with my daughter number 3.
Yeah, he's got to do that.
Number three, I did it with her. We took her phone, and we literally took her phone for about a month. But after a bit, it didn't phase her anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So what did I really punish her with?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So to me, hey, a good ass whooping goes a long way.
Mm-hmm.
They used to ask us. A lot of people would ask us. Me and my wife, we had a neighbor that he had kids that were small, and he was like, "Hey man, your kids." Back then they were like in their 21s, 1921s, and they asked, "Hey, how do you? I wanna tell you that I'm very impressed because your kids are very well mannered,
Mm-hmm.
And like, dude, I wish when my kids grow up, I hope they're like that." And I looked at him and says, "You want to know the secret?" He says, "Yeah, size 9." And my wife wears a size 7. And he didn't understand for a minute. I says, "Yeah, don't be afraid to use it."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If my wife has this saying, if your kid doesn't tell you that they hate you, then you're doing something wrong. Because 9 times out of 10,
They'll go through that
the
phase.
kids are going to go through that phase because you're putting your hammer down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You
And
know?
I think that's what's gone in this
And
upcoming generation is because Coy, I can bring him and I can sit here and I can take my gun off and I can set it right there, and he knows that's Daddy's gun. That's a real gun. I don't touch it.
Yeah. Same with Logan. I mean, I have the shotgun at home, and it's right there, right by my bed. And my wife was like, when we had my daughter, she's like, babe, I think you need to start. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna start putting it away because she's there. She knows it's gonna be there. He knows it's there. It's in my room. They're not gonna go to my room. Mom and Dad's room. When I was growing up, I wasn't allowed in the room if they weren't in the room. The room stayed closed, and that was it.
Yeah.
If you don't go in Mom and Dad's room, and so it stays in the room. So that's how I got it to tell her, like, hey, like, they're gonna know it's there. They're gonna know what it is, and they're gonna know, what it consists of and why it's there. They're not gonna know any different.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, and that's the thing though, because that's another thing too. We grew up watching, westerns, detective movies, cop movies, all that stuff, and all that stuff was pretty violent. But it's just it never got. But we knew the basic of good and bad.
Yes.
It was the basics of good and bad. And nowadays they're like, oh, we can't watch that movie because it's this, or we can't have. And even the guns, like I knew a couple of families who they wouldn't even let their kids play with the Nerf guns and let
Yeah.
them point it at kids.
Even growing up,
You know what I mean?
we've seen some of that.
Yeah,
too.
and it's just like you. I mean, you need to teach them the obvious difference. You need to teach them the obvious difference.
Mhm.
Like, that's a toy gun. This is a real gun. Okay, that's the whole point of that. But like you guys said, they're somewhere along the line. They kind of went the other way.
got
And just,
soft.
Well,
yeah,
is where
yeah.
my thing
I
Oh, yeah,
blame it on
yeah.
the fact that as a society, we decided that we should not make fun or we should not uh, get upset of kids. One. Number two, I started hearing it when I was in, I guess I was about 2015, maybe, or maybe later. If you guys heard it before, I'm telling you, that's the key point in the year right there, where you started hearing your child. They are people too. You guys ever heard that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Your children are people too.
Mhm.
And then it was like, if I want my kid to learn manners, then I have to show him the manners.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm here to tell you, no. Kids are kids. They're human, but they're kids.
Yeah.
You cannot treat
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
as equals. And that's what a lot of parents do. A lot of parents treat them as equals.
Mhm.
If they were equals, then they'll be paying for rent. If they were equal, then they'll be pitching in for light, water, and all that stuff. I'm just saying, if they were equal, they'd be getting up after work, after school, and go getting a job at 10, 11 years old because they're equal. No, they're not equal.
Yeah.
And if you treat them as such, that's what you get.
Mhm.
You get kids that think they're entitled because they have their rights.
Mhm.
At home, I pay for this house. That was my theory.
Yeah.
I never liked door slammed, and there was never door slammed. The one kid that did slammed it, he lost his door for a year. I done forgot about it until he came back to me and said, "Can I have my door back?" Oh, dude, damn, I forgot you don't got a door. It was like a year went by and I forgot about the door. But you know, no, it was, it
no,
was Chapo.
no, no.
But you know, those things were like you don't. That's what I mean. You don't teach him respect by being respect. You know, please, no. When my kids were at home, I gave them an order. Clean up your room. It's an order. It wasn't, I'm asking you.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna go, I'll give you this if you do this. No, I didn't do that because regardless of if I do this, I'm still paying for both.
Mhm.
So how does that become normal? How does that become fair?
Mhm.
You know, if you clean your room, I'll take you to ice cream. Wait a minute, I pay for his room and I'm paying for the ice cream. So how is that going to benefit?
Yeah.
No,
Right.
It's you clean your room because this is my house.
Mhm.
And by the time they're 13, you don't have to do anything other than say it, and it's done. Why?
Yeah.
Because they learn with that mindset of, oh, dad ain't joking around.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's like, please clean up your room. What do you mean, please? What do you mean, please? Well, how do I teach him how to say please like this? Hey, take this over there to this gentleman right there, the neighbor. Let's say the neighbor. Hey, he wants to borrow the what do you call it? I borrowed his bush clippers, whatever.
Yeah.
Take him back to the neighbor. Tell him thank you. Tell him thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And don't step on his grass.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how you teach him to respect people.
Yep.
Mhm.
You know, and you know that's grown. And honestly, that's kind of the thing that I notice about like you said, we're in Texas. A lot of the southern states get that right in that area. You know,
they get that backhand.
or they get the backhand. That was.
But
the
I
thing,
tell you
yeah.
what, though, this is a good. I know we went out a little bit.
Yeah.
But
Going
this
back
is
to
a good thing for teaching kids.
Yep.
Yeah, and there are programs in there for kids because I know there's a lot of families out there that they have a 22 for their child.
Yeah.
I got a 22 for
Yeah.
my
Yep,
son.
we had
Yeah.
And
22s.
here's the thing
yeah.
is he knows the difference between his BB gun and his
Yep.
and my guns.
Yep.
And his 22 as well. So the thing is, he knows the difference. He knows this is a BB gun. I'm not pointing it at people because there is a projectile, even though that it's not going to kill you unless shot placement. He ain't that good, but he knows I'm only pointing this on my intended target, whether that be a bird or beer cans. He almost got my truck one time, but that's him.
Oh.
But that comes the training on. Even though I'm not pointing at you,
Yeah.
and he's listening and he's going like this, I'm like, dude, muzzle awareness. If you're not pointing at your target, that thing is down.
Yeah.
So, and that was kind of his first get going. We practiced with the BB gun. Once he developed that where I could trust him with the 22, and he knows it. Like I have pictures with me behind him, and he knows, hey, Dad, I see the target. I have it here. I'm ready to fire. Okay. And he talks it through with me. And that's one of the things that we learned is we're learning together because now I'm learning about what he's seeing. And I know, because I already know the area. He knows, and he knows when someone steps out in front of him, he knows to drop that gun. He's like, Dad, that guy walked out. He moved ahead of me.
Yeah.
Cool. Move up. So Coy will go move up. Okay, pick it back up. Find your target again.
Nice.
I see it.
Nice.
So it's not just, hey, I'm pointing in right here.
Mhm.
He sees all of this, and he knows, hey, this guy he's in front of me now, so he can see it.
And that's what I like about
But that
because
takes time.
it takes
Now,
time.
and also, I don't have just pistols. Now, I do have the ARs that do the same thing with the blowback that has the charging handle. It simulates just like a real AR. I have an SBR, then I have one that, it's a regular one. So, depending on what you want to learn. So, again, not only can you do target shooting, you can do situational drills. You can also have a setup to where we could do it in your house, to where we can set up little things inside the house because this is your home. You're here to protect your home.
Yeah.
How are you going to move in your home? So, and then especially with me, I'm constantly training. I'll play with these guns because, I can play with them. I'm not having to use my real gun. I have a gun that simulates one of my guns, and I will go through the house. Now, what amazes me of doing this is you grab your gun and you go outside with Popper. Is Popper going to know what to do? Is he going to know how to move with you? Now, here's the thing that I got caught on the other day as it caught me off guard in the situation is Pila heard something outside. And I heard it too. Something was boom outside. Didn't know what it was. Right off my nightstand, I pulled out my Glock because it has the light on it. Went out. As soon as I went out, I opened that door. Chongo was ready. He's with me.
His dog.
My dog.
He really doesn't
Yeah.
have a big Chongo means like, ape, no.
He thinks he
doesn't,
is.
He doesn't
So-
have, yeah. he has
So
a dog.
Chongo, I opened that front door, and as I go out, Chongo's with me. And as I'm clearing out that front yard and I'm cutting my corner to where my driveway is, when I come through here, I have two vehicles in my driveway. So what do? Is I go and I clear. Chongo, I didn't notice until after I cleared out Pila's car in the backside. Is Chongo looked at me and I looked at him, and when I went down, Chongo moved with me. So it was like he tactfully knew my movement because he's seen me do this so much that he heard something too, and he knew like Dad's onto something, and I heard it.
Nice,
We're gonna
nice.
move, and without even having to tell him a word, he was my backup moving down those vehicles, and he was looking underneath because I've looked at the truck, so I could see him kind of like checking underneath the vehicle, and obviously Pila's smaller, so I had to get down and look underneath, make sure nobody was hiding underneath. But he actually met me on that back side, and we crossed our paths. So when I went around his path, he came back my path, and we met back up. And he sat at my foot, and I was like, "Hey, good boy." That was without saying a word. And that was just him watching me move through the house.
Nice.
So when I move through the house, I do notice, because he's always near me. He'll walk with me, and he'll watch me go through the house. He's checking, but he's seen how I'm cutting these corners, and it was just amazing of just when I practice how the dog picked it up. and I'm like, if my dog can pick this up,
Man.
anybody
That's
can
awesome.
learn this.
Yeah.
That is
But
awesome.
then again, I was doing this. I do it all the time,
Yeah.
mainly on the weekends, just because I'm preparing myself for the what if, and I hope nothing ever happens.
Training. Again, I was a firefighter, so my firefighters, we had an incident where I went to there was a fire where two little girls uh, burned alive,
Mm-hmm.
and the truck was running, and it caught on fire, and it burned. The parents were able to get out, but the girls couldn't get out, and they got burned. So when I came back, they were, I forget how old you were.
I was like
10,
10,
maybe
11
No,
around
not
there.
even. You weren't more than 10, because Marcos was still, and we still had the twins.
Oh no, I was in my teen. I was early teens.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, we had a Suburban,
Mhm.
and they were coming off base, and I just get the phone call.
Mhm.
But before this, we were talking. We didn't even practice it. We were just talking about it. What would you do if the car catches on fire? And of course, we just talking went through the scenario. Hey, your job is to get your brothers, da da da,
Mhm.
put them all in the front seat, and then do not stop the car, because that was the mistake they did when they were driving. A lot of people don't know, if you have a car on fire and you're driving, you have a better chance to get to where you need to go out of the way, somewhere where you can safely get out without moving your car. In other words, without stopping. You keep
Mhm.
moving because the wind was stopping the fire from engulfing the car. What they did is, a person saw them, turned around, waved them down that there was fire under the truck. They stopped. When the truck stopped, the flames engulfed the truck. So learning that, I told them, okay, you don't stop. You keep going. I told their mom, you keep going. You don't stop. You get the kids because I had a Suburban. So, they sit in the very back.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is your job. This is your job. Da, 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 Well, I think months went by or something like that. I mean, I forgot about it. I was at work and I get a phone call. Hey, the car's on fire. You need to it's at the back gate. I'm like, what? So I'm hauling butt to the back gate where they were.
Oh no, I wasn't even there for that one. I remember
Who
this
was
one.
it then? Marcos?
It was Marcos, and
Marcos,
then
man.
it was the twins, and
Yes.
I was at school.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So he was able to unbuckle the twins. He yelled at his mom not to stop because he saw the smoke, said, don't stop, jumped in, unbuckled him, put him in the front seat. They were babies. Put him in the front seat. Then she finally was like, everybody ready, pulled over. They all got out. No harm.
Mhm.
All because, again, we didn't even practice it. We just talked about it. This is your game plan. This is what you do. So practice. I'm a firm believer. In, like in that case, in
Yeah.
tactics. I need to know if would you know what to do if you're in the middle of the night, fall asleep, and there's a guy standing by your door holding a pistol, and another guy trying to break into the side of your house or breaking into your car. Would you know what to do? That's a question you got to ask yourself. A lot of people say, "Oh, I could just go." Nah, because remember, the thieves, already practice what they're going to do.
Mhm.
Mhm.
See, a lot of people don't understand that. Thieves practice what they're going. That's why they can do it like that, because they practice.
Mhm.
And
So
if anyone who's going to know the law too, it's going to be the
it's
thief,
the thieves.
Yeah.
They know the law.
because they know their
what they
limit.
can't do.
They know when to stop, when not to present a threat. So it's not just because you're on my property, I'm
Yeah.
gonna light you up. It's
Yeah.
you gotta. So there's a million things that's got to go on inside your head that you have to practice if you're
Right.
gonna pull that trigger.
Uh,
You can't just put a gun. Hey, I bought a gun today. Now I'm gonna
Yeah.
carry, and
Yeah.
I wish somebody would mess with me. Even if you get into a car wreck, that doesn't
Yeah.
mean you go up and you start doing it. There, I believe thing we learned in the military is called escalational force. If you're coming to me and hey, I'm gonna fight you. Hey, I'm gonna present the backup because I'm trying to defuse the situation. Now, if my hands are tied and I got and I got to defend myself, I'm going to defend myself with that same level of force. Just because I have a gun doesn't mean I can go and just pull out, start shooting. Because my thing is, if you start pulling your gun out, you better pull the trigger, because that's what it's there for. It's a tool. Oh, it's a weapon. You can kill people. No, you pull the trigger. That when you pull that trigger, you're firing that round because you pulled that trigger. So you intended for it to hit that target for what you're doing. It's a tool now for you, just like a knife is, right? You use a knife. You don't use it just to, oh, I'm going to use self-defense. Oh, man, I need to cut something. It's a tool. Just like you're using this to defend yourself, right? You're using this tool to defend yourself. Now, again, before you even fire, you got to make sure that person is a threat, and you have to make sure you're only shooting to stop the threat.
Yeah.
Now, what I mean by that is I'm not going to go and shoot this person because I'm going to kill him because he pissed me off because my property.
Right.
All that stuff can be rebought again. Insurance. That's why we have insurance and stuff like that. But just to protect yourself and protect your family, you don't shoot unless there's a threat. And then you don't shoot to kill, you shoot to stop the threat. Mm-hmm. And once that threat is stopped, again, kind of like you said, they're humans too, right? They are. They made a bad decision. They presented a threat. You stop that threat. Now that person's no longer a threat. Person is a human. What are you going to do? My case, you're going to put your hand on that wound, call 911. Hey, here's the 5 W's. And then you're going to call an ambulance for him and for yourself, because you're going to get checked out too, just to make sure. Because, your adrenaline's running and stuff like this.
Yeah.
But and that's just what I would do. Now, I'm not saying, hey, this is what you're going to do. This is what you need to do. This is just something that I would do. So that's me. If you want actual legal advice, hire a lawyer. Just to get that cleared out of the way. So my thing is not going to protect you on the legal side of like, oh, well, he said to do this. No, I'm just trying to help prepare you for your home in the case of the what if. And even if you just want to do it for fun, Now, the whole thing about this is because I valued time with my son. That's why I wanted to create this, because it's something that I'm good at, something that I'm passionate about, and something I think is really needed, not only for civilians, but for law enforcement.
It is needed because I'll just tell the story real quick. Like a while back, you guys remember that I had to just leave out of work real quick because, my wife, she called me and she was like, hey, there's somebody at the door. Somebody's trying to break into the door. So yeah, that actually happened. And my wife was one of those people that, it could never, it could never happen to us. One of those people. And, those people out there, it can never happen. And it happens. And then the day it happened, she called me and she was like, "Where's someone, someone at the door?" I'm like, "Well, where are you?" She's like, "Well, I'm in the living room." I'm like, "Don't, the gun's in the room. Go over there and get the gun in the room." Because our daughter was in, at the time, it was a 1-bedroom apartment. So I was like, "Go over there and grab the gun." And so that's kind of the thing. That's a good thing that you're doing for us, because now I got her telling her like, okay, it could happen. And I told her about you and what we're going to do. And now we're going to enter the program, that he's going to create, and he's going to show us how to do that as a family. So that way, we can be safe, and that we can, hopefully, with the best outcome.
And if you have a family, if you have like maybe teenagers, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds in your family, and you might think this is just for you. Not really. Think about it. He's got this program where it's the family gets involved.
Yeah.
So every family member has a what do you call it?
They have a chance and an idea
what their job is when stuff hits the fan. Yeah. He should be able to. He's going to evaluate and say, okay, what is your job when stuff hits the fan? Because remember, maybe the husband is going to go on the attack, but just because he's going to go on the attack doesn't mean the mom's got to sit there.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean the children don't know what to do.
Right.
This is something that it's good for everybody. It's good. It's safe because he can do it. No live ammunition.
Mm-hmm.
The kids get to start getting used to how to handle weapons without being a real weapon, and handle weapons, treat them as such. And maybe you have your wife that maybe she says, oh, I don't like weapons. I don't like guns in my house. Run her through this.
Mm-hmm.
Run her through this. Because let's face it, it's not getting any better.
No,
It's up to us
yeah.
to protect ourselves.
Yeah.
Police officers, nothing bad against police officers. My heart goes out to all of them. But usually they don't come until the threat's already over.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, it's that's just the way of life. It's just
So.
you got to find a way to protect your family, protect yourself, so that you can watch your daughter graduate, you can watch your kids graduate, go to college, and be safe and enjoy that guns are not evil. It's
Yep.
you
The
have
people
to.
who make them.
It's the people who make it. But there's good people with guns, like my man here, who are out there to teach people so they can stop the threat.
Mhm.
And again, so before we forget,
Yeah.
what is the name of the company? What is the
So the name of the company is Raycon Tactical. There's no website yet, so right now I'm just running off of word of mouth. So if you see this and you're interested, hit these guys up. They'll put me in contact with you.
Yeah.
put it in the comments?
Yeah,
and
comments if you're- yeah.
directly.
Yep.
We're not gonna say his phone number yet until he's more stable as far as the actual.
The thing's just started. I
Yeah.
just bought the equipment.
Yep.
But to keep in mind too, especially if we talk about law enforcement, is there's different training like we did in the military. But here's the thing: if you are law enforcement, here's the thing to think about is because we do have people who want to cause us harm that are here in the States.
Yeah.
There may be another attack that could happen. Now, thing is, now you're getting the throw. You're about to experience what we were experiencing overseas with these attacks is, and what they like to do is they like to go in, create a ruckus, make the attack. As a first responder, you're responding because there's injured people. What you're not prepared for is what about the secondary attack?
Right.
Because they want you to come in. Do you have the situational awareness of, hey, everything, and I know it's all chaotic, but you have to practice. That's what we do when we roll up into situations because, and again, we practice this so much that when it actually happened, it happened just like that, where a ruckus happened, there's injured civilians, we went in there still protecting the perimeter, and then a secondary attack happened, and we were ready for it. We went and got them, we went and got those injured people, started rendering aid, and took care of the situation. My thing is, officers now are not prepared for what could come. And this is the best thing to do is come practice and kind of see, are you prepared? Are you going to be able to do what you think you can do? And without the training of it, I highly doubt it. Now, I can't do a vehicle, VBET or something, but
Yeah.
I can present something on the screen that help you practice that situation. I can help, you understand what to look for, things, that may seem out of place, different types of people, which you may already see in your training, but this is a different level that we may encounter. And the thing is like, and I want all my people who wear a badge to be protected. Everyone, your the ambulance, fire, police officers, and even those 3-letter agencies. So GRS, if you see this, hook me up. But and this is mainly is designed for the smaller departments who don't have that budget, and they're like, hey, I want to come to, even if you are a bigger department, and you're like, you know what? Yeah, I have some officers. Even if you have your team, you want to run through this, great. But once I get bigger, hopefully, I will have an actual sim house.
Yes.
To
We're
where
talking about
you
that
can
too,
you
yeah.
can do it.
Yeah.
So there are plans for a bigger area, to actually a brick and mortar place to actually have run simunition.
So right now, I know you've been looking for locations. It just depends on the right locations,
Right
as far
location,
as
stuff like that.
what kind of building you're looking for, so we can set up something.
Yes.
So we can set up simulations within the building.
Yeah.
That for this is for teams now.
Yeah.
Now and then once and it can be team building. Even for people in the office, if you just fired a disgruntled worker and he comes back and he wants to come in and start creating a ruckus, is your company prepared? Does your security that you hired there, are they prepared for what's
Sweet.
Yeah,
Sweet.
that's a good
Sweet.
question.
That's really good.
We work in the same place, and I'm not gonna say, but man, our security. Sometimes I'm like, who is that guy? Because I don't even know him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they change.
They
people.
change personnel all the
And I'm
time.
like, who's that guy? And we think it's just like opening the door and like, what?
Yeah.
You know.
But
And then when stuff did hit the fan, they didn't know what to do.
yeah.
It's like, what?
So I mean, there was that one time where the security guard got scared and didn't want to clear this one area, and she came and asked me,
Yeah.
"Hey, do you mind
Yeah.
going over there and clearing that area?" But you got to practice and you have to train. I mean, y'all police officers, y'all chose this job, and more power to you. But in order to stay ahead and to stay in the fight, you got to train. You can't just go to the range and expect, hey, I'm gonna be able to move and cut corners like this, because you never know. I'm gonna use a female if you're a female officer and you get a call for domestic violence and it's in that house, you're not gonna sit there and wait for more backup, because you don't know what's going on in there. You're gonna go in. Do you know how to move in that house?
Right.
Does he have a weapon? Does he have this? This would be great to come in now, even a guy too, because I've met some females in the military that could pick me up and truck and do my job just as well. And I've found some guys. I'm like, how did you make it in this thing? Like how are you the same level?
Right.
Like what did you do? Did they mix your names
Right.
on your ASVAB? Like what happened? But so no, I'm not going to be biased on with the genders. There are females that can do the job, and then there's males that can't.
Yeah.
So, but the ones that can't do it are the ones that can't train, that don't train enough.
Right.
So that's
See,
what I want to
training's the key.
offer.
Training the kid.
Training is the key, and this is the best way to do training.
Well,
here.
It's cost effective. You're not using live ammo, and we can train and then have fun. Throw in some wacky situations, shoot some targets.
Soon when the website comes up, he will have all the pricing and
Yeah.
all the
When the pricing comes up,
packages and all that stuff
Yeah.
you offer. So again, stay tuned. Stay
Yep.
tuned, because we'll have more information once that
Yep.
comes out. If you want more information now, send us a comment.
we'll get a hold of you. and
We'll
Yeah.
message us on that, and
then
he's the tech guy, producer guy, whatever. He's the one that's going to be getting your comments and everything, and then he'll be in touch with Blake, and
Yep.
and that way he
Yeah.
can contact you direct, and then you can go from there.
and
I'll even do you one side. The one person that hits 1,000 on your likes, that 1,000, I'll give a free session to.
yeah, there you go. There you go.
So-
give this out. Send it out. The one person getting 1,000. You heard it.
Right now
Free.
we're in the
We're in the
Dallas-
DFW area.
We're in the
DFW
So if you're in the
area.
DFW
Yeah,
area,
yeah.
you can get it.
Yeah, but yeah.
Get it now while it's cheap before I start making my prices.
Yeah.
Well, Blake, thank you for joining us. Thank you for getting
thank
all
you,
that
gentlemen, for
information,
having
and
me.
thank you for your service, sir. By the way,
thank
we
you.
honor our armed forces, right? We honor the guys in the military, so we really appreciate you guys joining in as well. Thank you, the audience, all the views. Thank you so much. We really do
welcome
appreciate
you
it.
back whenever you start getting more information in the website, all that
Oh,
stuff.
Yeah, you're one of
Please
the
let
ones
us
back.
know. We'll have you back on the show so we can
Mhm.
let our viewers
And when he
more on all
runs,
that.
a simulation and stuff, we'll be posting some videos to see how it looks like, and
Yeah, the
all
next
that and all that
video,
good stuff. Yeah.
I'll have the program running so
Yep.
you can see it.
So
Shout out to Marcos. He couldn't make
yeah,
it.
if you guys noticed, the big Sasquatch wasn't here that sits next to us, so it's just he had to take a day off. But yes, again, thank you guys for joining us. This has been 2 cents, because we got 3.